Thank you again for choosing Trapp Cadillac Chevrolet.
Trapp Cadillac Chevrolet has been serving South Louisiana for over 50 years. That's right, 50 years. No matter how much Trapp has grown, you can count on hometown feel, friendly service every time you stop it. Our unmatched service and diverse Chevrolet, Cadillac, and pre-owned inventory has set us apart as the preferred car dealer in South Louisiana. We're also known for our outstanding auto repair service, changing your oil quickly and easy financing.
We promise to always give the most in your auto buying experience here at Trapp Cadillac Chevrolet in Houma.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And I know lots of people are thinking about and talking about this election that's coming up. It's really important for us to understand our process and to make sure that we're doing everything right, making sure that we get our votes in. We want our votes counted. The best way to do that with Ms. Rhonda Rogers. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So as Register of Voters, you guys are responsible for all of the things that happens with the election. Let's talk a little bit about some of these deadlines. We want to make sure people are registered first.
Yes. The first thing coming up is our registration deadline. Mm-hmm. It is actually this Monday, October 7th. So we want to make sure that people are aware of that deadline. There's a second one, an October 15th deadline, but that's our online Go Vote site. Okay. Not everybody may qualify that way, so we want to make sure that those people who are not sure if they don't have an updated Louisiana driver's license, things like that, that makes it easier to register online, they really need to come see us in our office and get it done correctly on paper in our office by October 7th.
And again, that voter registration deadline for you to be able to vote for the November 5th election is October 7th. That's the deadline to register. You could do Go Vote, which is a deadline to register for online registration, but again, there may be some delays in that. So best bet, if you're not sure if you're registered, you need to go and make sure that you do that at the Register of Voters office.
Correct. And another easy way to look up your registration is through the Go Vote site. Okay. So if you're not sure, you can look it up. If not, come to our office, give us a call. Mm-hmm. We can help you look things up. A lot of people had damage. A lot of people were affected by the hurricanes and have relocated, which means maybe their registration is now inactive. So those are other things that they need to take care of before those registration deadlines. So everything's set and ready to go. And when they walk in to vote on November 5th, it's easy.
Easy, ready to go. And listen, I got to tell you, there are people that have been talking about this election coming up for months. Mm-hmm. And so we want to make sure that we've been talking about it and thinking about it, and you want to make sure your vote counts, you got to get in and get registered.
Correct. Not only new registrations, but updates to registrations, such as your address, maybe your name, maybe you were married, maybe you were divorced, you had a name change. Party changes, that's another big one right now. All of those things have to happen by the deadline. Can you still do things after the deadline? Of course you can, but they're going to sit there until after the election. It won't become official until after the election day.
We really want that to be official. And so talk a little bit about how things are maybe a little bit different, what our timeline is this year, or where.
Oh, for early voting.
Early voting,
okay.
Yes.
Early voting will begin, and because it's a presidential election, it is now a 10-day early voting period. So early voting will begin on Friday, October 18th, and it will end on Tuesday, October 29th. We are closed on Sundays only, so that means we will be open on Saturdays. It will be at my office, at the Registrar of Voters office.
Okay.
4 years ago, it was at the Civic Center. Times were different then. Now it's going to be back at my office. We have a good system set up. We have a great plan going forward for parking. And what's on our side is that we have a short ballot. So we do think our line will move fast.
Move quickly. Let's talk a little bit about this. Thank you, Jason. You want to just kind of describe where people can come in, where they can go, and where they can park?
So if you look at the image, you can only enter the parking lot during the early voting period from Main Street or Barrow Street. So many of our voters are just used to coming in on Gabash Street. But unfortunately, for the safety of the people in line, we're going to have that entrance blocked off. We need to make sure that we have enough room for everybody in line waiting to come in and vote. So we're going to block that entrance off. Gabash Street will be exit only. And the parking right there in that exit only lane is just going to be for handicap. So we're going to have our able-bodied citizens able to park in the other areas.
Yeah, so the able-bodied people are going to be able to park and walk.
Correct.
Those people who are disabled are going to be able to walk a little bit more closely to that line, which is going to be near Gabash Street.
Correct.
And so we want to make sure that you know that you cannot enter by Gabash. Again, I know a lot of people think that's the back way, and you're right. but you can only go in through either Barrow or Main Street. Regular parking is going to be to the west side of the building, and on that south side of the building, right just outside of the walkway, will be disability parking only as you wrap around, and people can park there because the lines are going to be there. You won't have an entry. Still need to come in from Main Street or Barrow Street
Correct.
to park in the disability parking just off of that.
Correct.
Okay.
And we will have a lot of signs, so
Okay,
I'm
great
hoping that
signage.
will help our voters navigate that area a little bit more efficiently, and also we'll have security there to try to help.
Security as well.
Yes.
And so also very important for people to realize that there's a festival going on during the time. So 4 years ago, again, for the last presidential election on November 5th, we weren't able to we were there and able to use the parking lot over the Civic Center. We're not this year.
Correct. And then 4 years ago, we had to social distance.
Right.
There was no way to do that in my office.
Right.
So we were able to work with the parish, get the Civic Center. The Civic Center wasn't doing business at the time either
Right.
because of all the social distancing and the COVID going around. So this time, the circumstances are just different, but parish worked with me. We have a great system in place. I do think it's going to work well.
Well, and another thing maybe we should do is just a little bit of a shout out for two things, to the parish and to everybody at the Register of Orders.
Thank you.
Getting everything ready.
Yes.
Because this has been a I mean, you guys have been working on this for months.
Correct.
Getting everything ready. And we want to make sure that everybody is aware that it takes time to get ready.
Right.
Your team has been working diligently to do that, and all the signage and rearranging to
Right.
be able to do in your office to get prepared and ready for that, so that we can have a good line, safety for people, and be able to get people in and out. of
Correct.
that, right?
And just parking in itself, just dealing with that, we do have a parking crisis
Yeah.
because our parking garage is closed. So it's been nice to have that ability to work with the parish, them help us out, and we have a good working relationship that I think our voters do appreciate.
Yeah, and again, just being able to provide easy and better access to make sure that this convenience and this honor that it is to be able to vote, that you can do it easily. And that's what Terrebonne Parish is trying to do.
Correct.
And so we appreciate that. Got a whole lot more to talk about. We'll take a
Okay.
quick break and come right back.
Sounds
All right,
good.
Rhonda's going to join us. You do that as well. We'll be right back, right here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Whiteside. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Welcome back into the program. Register of Voters, Rhonda Rogers. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks again.
All right. And so again, want to let everybody know it's very important. We started this on the last segment. Want to let you know, voter registration deadlines for the November 5th election. The deadline to register is in person or by mail by October 7th. That's this coming Monday. It's important to be able to get that in. You could do it through GoVote. You can go check GoVote to make sure that you're registered. If you're not, it's highly recommended that you go in, or that you make sure you get it in by mail. And if you do it by mail, you got to do it this week.
Correct.
Just to make sure everything is in. The deadline to register for our update registration online is October 15th, but there's no guarantee that you'll be verified for voter registration for the November
Correct.
5th.
And those laws are hard laws.
Right.
So I can't make any exceptions to those laws.
Yeah.
So-
You don't have any control over that.
Correct.
Right?
So
Let people know
we have to follow those laws, and
Those
we
documents.
encourage you to make sure you take care of it now.
Okay. Now, what are we talking about with the volume of people? How many people do we have that are registered to vote here in Terrebonne Parish?
Currently, we have over 62,000 registered voters in Terrebonne Parish. That's actually lower than what we had 4 years ago.
Right.
But we've had some events in our parish, unfortunately, that have caused people to leave our parish. Hopefully, they do come back. But we have seen a drop in our number. It's rising now. Presidential does bring people back to register. We've had people as old as 70, 80 walk in our office this week saying, I've never registered to vote in my life. Today I am.
I'm registering
So,
today. Yep.
so this election is drawing a lot of interest.
It really is. As we talked about earlier, there's a lot of people talking about it, and quite frankly, it's important. You know, it's our right to be able to go out and vote for whom it is that we would like in office to be able to do that. Let's talk about some of those dates that people need to be aware of and what they can do and when, and mail-outs, right? Y'all have already set up mail-outs. We're getting some back already.
We have. We are in election mode right now.
Okay.
We have mailed out over 2,300 ballots just in Terrebonne Parish to our voters that are eligible for the program.
Right.
You can't call me and say, send me a ballot. That's not how it works here. You have to qualify. So these are the people who have qualified or on our program. And last week we started mailing those ballots out. We're over 2,300. Requests are still coming in. You have until November the 1st to request a mail ballot.
Right.
I don't recommend you wait that long.
No.
That's too last minute because we do have to put it in the mail.
Right.
So we want you to be able to get your ballot on time, have enough time to vote your ballot, and also get your ballot back to us.
And return it.
Correct.
Yeah, and so, again, only qualified people, those people that are either homebound for whatever reason or incapable of getting out to go and vote.
And we do have a lot of people who work offshore. Offshore is definitely a reason you can request a ballot. 65 and older, those people can request a ballot.
Right.
But again, you still have to request it. You're not automatically on the program. It has to be something you request and we verify.
Can't just assume that y'all know all those things and y'all are sending those out automatically.
Correct.
Let's talk about some of the other deadlines that are important.
Some of the other deadlines, when it comes to early voting, we talked about those deadlines, but those, if you're in the parish for early voting, but you're not going to be in the parish for election day, then you're expected to early vote. You don't automatically qualify for a mail ballot because you didn't feel like waiting in the line or you just didn't get to come and do it. You need to take it seriously. Come out, come vote. It is very convenient. However, you still need to take the time to make it happen. Right.
And that November 5th early voting is Friday, October 18th through Tuesday, October 29th.
Correct.
And again, closed on Sundays. You guys deserve at least a little bit of a break.
We get a day off here and there. Correct.
Yeah, and so 8:30 to 6, which is wonderful options. 8:30 to 6. If you can't do 8:30 to 6 for early voting, it's because you didn't try.
Because you didn't try, especially if you were in the parish.
Right.
And if you're not in the parish, again, we do have a provision. You can request that ballot by mail.
Right. And then the December 7th, that general election, again, we have those different times and dates there, all on what you see here in front of you. And Go Vote is a great option. Let's talk about some of the options that people have through Go Vote.
Go Vote will not only give you your sample ballot, but you can even pre-mark your ballot so that way when you do get into the voting machine, whether it's early voting or election day, you're not trying to remember, wait, what did I decide I wanted to do for this candidate or this issue? It's in the palm of your hand, and it kind of takes that stress away.
Right.
And also you can help your family, have a table talk about it.
Right.
This is what we want to vote. Those are things you can discuss in private with your family. November 5th is election day. The polls will open at 6 a.m. on that day. You do not vote at my office on November 5th. You vote at your precinct location.
Right. So again, the early voting is going to be there to register voters. And precinct voting on the date itself on
Election day.
Election day on 11/5.
Correct.
Which is what times?
6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on election day
On election
itself.
day.
Early voting is 8:30 to 6 p.m. And again, that's Friday the 18th through Tuesday the 29th. Of course, there's an 11-day period there, closed on the Sunday in between that. And so, again, really excited about these options that people have. And again, get your sample ballots. Go to Go Vote and just check it out. There's not that much on the ballot. You got plenty of time to look at a couple of the options for the amendments. You got a couple of those. I got a couple special voting selections. You got the presidential race. And so ought to be pretty easy to be able to do and kind of select that.
Right. It's not a busy ballot. It's short and sweet, so it's something that you can look at, think about, make your decisions. We only have one constitutional amendment. Those are the ones that usually are the hardest ones to figure out.
Because they take a long time to read.
They
right?
do, and it's very legally worded.
Right.
So we only have one on this ballot. December, we will have more.
We'll have a few more in December.
But for the November 5th election, only one. But one thing to remember, a lot of people don't want to look into other areas on the ballot. If you only want to vote for one thing, you only have to vote for one
wow.
thing.
Very
So keep
good.
that in mind. Don't let the other stuff intimidate you. Vote for what you want to vote, but you do have to make one choice before you cast your ballot.
Right.
So that's another option as well.
Very good. Rhonda, we appreciate your time very, very much. Thanks for all the education. We look forward to a very smooth option before and on Election Day.
Thank you very much for having me. I do appreciate this.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment, but don't go anywhere. A whole lot more right here on HTV.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.